up, big it up. Yep. Hear my voice. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Casual Wrestling Community Show. This is the single greatest casual wrestling podcast on the internet. I am your host, the notorious Nerdy D, and joining me on the ones and twos, working the mics and cameras, your new notorious pay-per-view champion, Level Up, Lauren.
Yay! What's up, y'all?
You killed me this past pay-per-view here.
Yes,
WrestleMania,
I did.
The big one, the one I'm supposed to know everything about, right? I'm supposed to be the wrestling guy here, and I got smacked around. I think I got like two matches right. I think the only one I got right, maybe that you didn't get right, was Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Other than that, I got my ass whipped. So I will be coming for that title at WrestleMania Backlash.
We shall see.
Just a couple weeks away. But each and every week, we take a journey through the world of professional wrestling, all while learning from you guys, the CWC, through your comments on social media. Make sure to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube at The Casual Wrestling Show, or subscribe on your favorite podcast network. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and officially on the Apple Podcast Network. Make sure to leave us a little review or a comment to get us into the algorithm. Today's show will be unlike any other because we are unpacking everything coming out of WrestleMania 38 weekend. But first, Lauren,
Yes.
we had a video hit 1 million views on TikTok.
Yes, we did.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's 1 million people.
$1 million.
1 million people saw something that we created and then threw out into the world. 1 million people experienced that. Were they a nice million people? No, there were a lot of assholes on that video. But nonetheless, there was 1 million people. Was my face in that video? Of course not. Of course it was a video from WrestleMania of the stage. But that's 1 million people. Like, we did it. We sat there, we watched that thing go, and we were like, go.
It was exciting.
Go. And then it hit 1 million, and we were like, holy shit. We made a video that has 1 million followers.
That's
and
crazy.
To put that in perspective for you, that video has more views than the last episode of AEW Rampage. So more people looking at our content than AEW Rampage. We will be discussing our personal experiences from WrestleMania on the post show tonight. So if you're interested in some of the things we did this past weekend, because if you don't already know, now you know, we did end up going to night one of WrestleMania, and there are zero regrets from that.
Yeah, definitely.
We had intended not to go. We went all the way to Dallas, got a steal on some tickets, and we ended up at WrestleMania. So
Yes, we
that
did.
was amazing. We will be restarting the notorious theme song brackets next week, finishing off the SmackDown division. Stay tuned for exactly how we're going to do that. I think we're going to reach out to HyperX and get him to help us with some of these championship rounds. The CWC 2K universe has been officially formed, and we are starting to enter in wrestlers. We got a couple of people submitted. We'll be reaching out to multiple people to get wrestlers from you guys, so look out for our messages. If you have the game, you can create your own wrestler. We have gone through all the procurement instructions on WWE2K on how to download. You use hashtags. It's weird as fuck, but we figured out how to download certain people's characters. And so if you have the game, create your own character. We'll bring them into the universe. If you don't have the game and you still want to be a part of the universe, just let us know what you want your character to look like, and we'll do our best to make it look like what you're looking for. Also, we are doing a pilot run of our live discussion documentary series this Saturday live on YouTube at 8 p.m. Central. So homework, if you want to be a part of that show, is to watch WWE Evil Episode 1 on Hulk Hogan. And then we'll have a live discussion Saturday at 8 p.m. Central on YouTube Live. Lauren, I tried to do my first podcast related TikTok.
Okay.
I was hyped up coming out of WrestleMania. I was like, oh shit, head of the table, the undisputed Universal Champion, I got to do a TikTok. I got to represent Roman Reigns. So I did a TikTok where I did the little raise your finger thing. And it actually got good reception, and it was good to see people respond to it. But boy, did I hate every minute of making that TikTok. That's not my thing. That's not my gig. I don't like some of that shit, and I'm glad like people responded because it made me not feel like a fucking idiot. Like other people
Nobody duetted mine.
Nobody duetted yours? Well, but I don't think usually they duet the original creator. They don't. I was hoping to get like a little train thing started that never got started, but I did get quite a few duets, which is awesome. But you know, like here's even the fucked up thing in that situation is the day after I recorded that TikTok, I saw other content creators replicate that same TikTok. And I know I was the first one to fucking do it. And I saw other TikTok creators replicate the same fucking thing and not give credit. But I just like, they need to know like I'm daddy. I'm the originator. I fucking start this trend here. And then they jump on and they don't want me playing in their fucking swimming pool. And I could care less. I don't want to. But like, I just need them to know that I know I'm fucking daddy. I am the man, and you guys are fucking trying to keep up. Also, like, don't get it twisted. I hear these motherfuckers when I bring up something that's not being talked about. I see the ripples as they begin to try to take claim of that shit and talk about it on their own.
Yeah.
And so I'm never playing catch up. I'm always 4 steps ahead, and I don't give a fuck. But I'm just going to acknowledge the fact that I do know that imitation is a form of flattery, and you motherfuckers keep copying me. It's all good, right? Today's show is going to be a little different. We're going to do lots of overreactions and thoughts on WrestleMania 38 and the post-WrestleMania Raw. We'll talk about where I was right, where I was very wrong. We'll kind of do a match-by-match breakdown here. My favorite moments, a couple of fuck yous will be given to the people who acted like I was crazy when I said this was possibly one of the best WrestleMania cards I had ever seen in my life. Now that's a fucking running theme with everybody. Like all of a sudden everybody else is fucking talking about, oh, we knew that. Fuck you guys. All of you. When I said this was going to be one of the best WrestleManias ever, you fuckers weren't there co-signing me. Nobody was everybody was playing back. Everybody was fucking afraid to say it, but I knew it. I looked at that card up and down and I said, all of these people are going to perform. And the matches I said, let's just get into overreactions.
All right.
Where do you start when you talk about this amazing ass WrestleMania? When I sat down to put my notes together, I was like, do I try to just talk about the highs? Do I talk about the highs and lows? I said, no, the only way to do this card justice is to literally just go through the card. It's just take an episode and just go through the card.
Yeah.
And we'll start with, like I said, what I said last week that I took a ton of fucking heat on. There were so many people came in the comments, fucking WrestleMania 31, 32. You're going to compare this to 28? Like, yes, I knew this was a big deal. Coming out of COVID, WWE was going to put on a fucking show. 70,000, 2 nights in a row. With a card like this, and it lived up to every fucking thing I said. Start to finish, this is the best WrestleMania that I have ever seen. Now, you guys don't know what WrestleManias I've seen and haven't seen, so of course that's subjective, but when I say it, I stand behind it. This was the best WrestleMania I have ever seen, right? There was absolutely something for every person inside of this WrestleMania. You want comedy? They gave you comedy. You got the Jackass match, right? They want nostalgia? Here's fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin 2 nights in a row. You want surprises? We got Cody. Yeah, we knew Cody was coming, but don't fucking pretend like every one of us wasn't doubting in that moment that Shane McMahon was walking down that ramp and we were going to be disappointed again. So let's talk about it. Night 1, Saturday night, me and you were live and in person, section 14R, row 18, seats 12 and 13. That's where the fuck we're sitting, right?
Yes, sir.
We got a good view of WrestleMania. And we kick off WrestleMania with possibly the most forgettable match of night 1 and definitely the hardest spot to be in WrestleMania because the crowd's still kind of wandering in. Everybody's anxious. They don't, nobody knows what's going to hit. And then that first song hits. It's Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs versus the Usos, right? My thoughts on that match, it opened the show, okay? It wasn't spectacular. It was an Usos match where they isolate a guy. They keep him out of his corner. One cool thing, Shinsuke and fucking Boogs, they finally had on matching outfits, which I've been asking for a long time, but they finally matched. The most memorable thing that's going to come out of that match is fucking Boogs tearing his quad.
Yeah.
How bad does that suck? Like a guy who I felt like was just starting to hit his stride and was starting to get in rhythm, and him and Shinsuke were starting, like, they got matching outfits. And all of a sudden, it looks like they're a team, and now he's out for the foreseeable future. It puts Shinsuke back in a kind of an awkward situation. I think the Usos were going to win regardless. I don't think that changed the finish of that match. But what can I say? It opened WrestleMania, and it was solid tag team wrestling. It was the Usos doing what the Usos do, and it got the show kicked off.
Yeah.
So from there, we got right into it, and this is a match that a lot of people doubted. A lot of people talk shit about this. They were pissed off. And once again, Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin, it delivered.
This was one of the ones I was wrong about.
Drew fucking dove over the top rope at one point in that match.
Fuck yeah, he did.
I don't know that I've ever seen Drew McIntyre do a top rope dive, but that's what happens at WrestleMania is guys start doing things they don't normally do. Now I've been told the video that we posted that had 1 million viewers, and we showed the cars that were behind the stage, and we couldn't figure out, like, we accounted for like 2 or 3 of the cars, right? I thought one was JBL. It wasn't JBL. One ended up being for Becky Lynch. The ATV was for Stone Cold. I've been told that third vehicle was for Baron Corbin, and that he attempted to get in, and after something, I don't know if the car didn't start. I don't know if they decided time constraints. He didn't get in, like, he didn't get a cool entrance. Yeah. And Drew didn't get that cool of an entrance either, which I thought was interesting because for somebody that they treat like a star most of the time, like they treat Drew McIntyre like he's a big deal, and rightfully so, he should be a big deal. He kind of got the normal WrestleMania treatment. He didn't get the big, there should have been a bigger, he had a little bit of fire, but it was not the big. Now, Drew did kick out of the end of days, and I don't think you knew it in that moment. And I turned to you and tried to tell you, like, and I told the people around us, because a lot of people around us did not have a fucking clue what was going on.
Yeah.
But I did kind of tell you that was the first person ever to kick out of the end of days.
Yes, I did not know
Baron
that.
Corbin's finishing move. So that's a big deal that they protected that move for so long in Baron Corbin's career. Eventually it's going to happen. I think that was the proper moment for it to happen. I'm interested to see what happens coming out of WrestleMania into SmackDown this week, because I would love to see a revert back to like bum Corbin, sad Corbin, like a distraught Corbin.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be happy coming out of this. I think that the negativity should creep back in. And we talked about, like, let's get something going with JBL. I think he could do something with JBL. There's sparks in a story there. JBL said he'd like to work with Corbin. Corbin said he'd like to work with JBL. Let's make it happen. But post-match, I think the coolest thing that we saw during that match was Drew McIntyre fucking just slicing through the ropes.
Oh, hell yeah. I looked at you and I was like, oh my God.
He took that sword and he just hayaka'd right through the ropes, snapping the first and second rope. Luckily, Moss got out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's attempted murder again, Drew. Drew, how many times? Like, somebody's got to get Drew under control. If that sword can cut through those ropes, that's attempted murder. If that would have hit Madcap Moss, he's dead. He loses an arm.
Yeah.
He's not wrestling anymore. It's ridiculous. But that was, once again, it was a dope match. Now we're 2 for 2 coming out right out of the gates. Match 1, solid tag team match. Match 2, over-delivered. It was a singles match, didn't have a lot on the line, but it over-delivered. It was exactly what it needed to be. Then we got to match number 3. This was the match I had been hyping up.
You did.
I had been hyping this up, and when everybody wanted to shit on Logan Paul. But but The Miz always delivers. Rey Mysterio, who I've never been an ultimate Rey Mysterio fan. In the last year, have I found a ton of respect and kind of realized what he means to wrestling? Yes, definitely. He always puts on a hell of a show. Dominic was there again, once again, right? And then Logan Paul. And I told you guys, Logan Paul wasn't going to go out there and make a fucking fool of himself. And was there anybody, did you see anybody singing higher praise pre-WrestleMania than this guy for Logan Paul?
No.
I knew he was going to put on a show. Nobody was singing higher praise for Logan Paul or Pat McAfee pre-WrestleMania. That was me. I was the guy screaming it. I said he would steal the show, and I do believe that there's a little piece of that show that was stolen by Logan Paul. He fits the heel character so naturally. He knew where the camera was. He was able to pull off wrestling moves. He went down in the splits at one point. He played the part so well. Now, Dominic Mysterio, forgettable. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, he's awkward.
They got to get him away from Rey Mysterio.
His dad is so good.
His identity cannot be, I am the really tall, lanky son of Rey Mysterio that doesn't look like, it doesn't make sense. He needs his own identity. Whatever that is, they're going to have to figure that out. And I get it. He's really young. He's got time. But just something about, like, he's forgettable in that match. Miz, I remember everything Miz did. Logan, I remember what Logan did. Ray, I remember what Ray did. Then you go, Dominic, I don't know, right? And then we got the finish of the Miz hitting the skull-crushing finale on Logan Paul, which I believe opened the door for Logan if he wants to return back to the wrestling business. I don't think he's doing that anytime soon. He's a busy man, but it opens the door. I did read that contractually, Logan had something in his contract, and I don't know how much I believe this, but I did read this, that he had to end the match in a face position, like the good guy.
Okay.
Who thought that the Miz skull-crushing finale on Logan was going to leave Logan the good guy? That was more of a face turn for the Miz, which I don't think they intended, than it was for Logan. Logan is a natural bad guy.
Yeah.
Logan needs to embrace the bad guy. He could be a hell of a bad guy in this business.
Yeah, for sure.
So we came out of that. Energy's fucking high at this point. Like, because the crowd was not expecting that. That match went over extremely well. And we go into what I still think is possibly the best all-around wrestling match from both nights of WrestleMania. Edge and AJ Styles was a good match, but I think Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair was the best all-around wrestling match on both nights of WrestleMania. Now, let's get the elephant out of the room here. I was so fucking wrong about the hair. And I knew from the moment we went to a Bianca Belair panel and she talked about how important the hair was, I knew I'd fucked up. Right? I knew I was wrong on that. Did they tease it? They teased it so much, right? And was it a little weird that the match had absolutely nothing to do with hair? Yeah, it was a little weird that leading into the match, there was so much focus on the ponytail and hair. And then the ponytail was hardly used in the match, hardly used against her. And it's not that they didn't need gimmicks in this match.
No.
They stole the fucking show. This was match of the night day one, probably match of the night day two. But and once again, I bet against my favorite wrestler. And I don't understand why I do that. I talk myself into these things. I overthink. When we sit down to do our predictions, I sit down and I overthink it and I go, no, I'll never do that again. I'll never bet against Bianca again. I can't do it. It was disrespectful. I shouldn't have done it. Like, my heart, I'm so happy she won. I wanted her to win, but I bet on Becky Lynch. And there were moments where I thought she had it. Mm-hmm. I really did. I thought both of those girls had by far the best ring gear of the night. I mean, everything about this match was like elevated to another fucking level. I thought Becky Lynch's hair looked dope as shit. I thought her makeup looked dope as shit. And I think Bianca taking the fucking shot in the eye and that eye just swelling up shut just shows like, that's like a G thing, right? Like, that's so fucking, it's so crazy to come out with this WrestleMania moment with your eye swollen shut the next night for it to be all fucked up. Like, it sold that triumphant return to like greatness that she needed and she got. And I can't complain about anything that's happened since SummerSlam with Bianca Belair, because this was all set up by pissing us all off. This is me overreacting at SummerSlam going, oh, they fucked her. That's stupid. They shouldn't have squashed her. Here we are 6 months later at WrestleMania 38, and we're going,
damn.
That paid off. That was a story. They did 6 months of pretty decent storytelling and got us to that point. Mm-hmm. So then we got Seth Rollins coming out in his lace tights.
Loved it.
Boy, that boy was in lace tights, looking fancy. Mm-hmm. He came out, stood in the ring, lights go off. Who's it going to be? Not going to lie. Split second, I'm thinking, it's Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
The lights just went off. All these phones are on. They look like the Firefly. This is Bray Wyatt coming back. Music hits. The fucking building explodes. The American Nightmare pops up out of the ground, and that's it. Like, Cody Rhodes is, it's crazy to think about. Cody Rhodes is back in WWE again.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone who was the pillar of starting let's not kid ourselves. Like, we can give some credit to Jericho. We can even give some credit to Tony Khan. But without Cody Rhodes, AEW doesn't get formed. It never does. And I had said this pre-WrestleMania. I thought the WrestleMania WWE crowd would understand the significance of this moment. And they definitely did.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd knew. The crowd knew this was a big deal. And they reacted like it was a big deal. I did read that Cody said he negotiated never wanting to hear the name Stardust again and never having to do anything Stardust related. Then he immediately goes out first match and does a fucking cartwheel like Stardust. And I saw him talk about it afterwards, and he was like, what the fuck was I doing? He was like, I was in the moment and I immediately go do something Stardust. But that was a cool little nod. It was neat in the match that both guys kept teasing a pedigree, Triple H's move, because they both kind of have links and ties back to Triple H. So I thought that was a cool little like nod to Triple H.
All right.
Tell me this though, after watching that match, is there any person, any wrestler that you've ever seen that can lose as many times as Seth Rollins does and comes out on the other side? And I feel like he's just better. Like, he's just gotten better in the loss.
No,
Like,
I mean, I get what you're saying, though. You still love him.
Like, when Bray Wyatt was wrestling, he lost a lot, and I always felt like it hurt him in the end. I never felt like he came out stronger. When Seth Rollins loses, I always feel like he comes out on the other side, and we're like, well, yeah, that's Seth, and he's just going to be better later.
I always feel like he has a next diabolical scheme.
Exactly.
So it's okay.
He kind of knows how to make us forget about those moments. And I think that's kind of the magic of Seth Rollins, is that he doesn't need a title and he doesn't even need to win to be an important part of what WWE is doing. If Cody Rhodes wanted to be loved, this is what we talked about when he was in AEW, right? That he needs to turn heel. The crowd's turned on him. If Cody Rhodes' ultimate goal was to be loved, he found home, because the WWE crowd, they've embraced him. They're like hanging on every word he says. He went to the right place. So after that match, we got Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. This was the absolute worst possible spot that you could put this match. You're laughing because you think the match is bad. I don't think the match was that bad. I think that they couldn't have done a bigger disservice to Ronda and to Charlotte. This should have been the first match of the night when the crowd's energy was still up. Because here's the problem. The crowd doesn't like Ronda Rousey. No matter how much WWE tried to shove her down our throats and go, this is the good guy, the crowd was like, no, we don't like Ronda. Ronda, she talks shit about us. We don't like Ronda. There was a perfect opportunity to give Charlotte back the ability to be the face in this situation. They didn't do it. They stuck with it. By this time, we had just come out of Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. Okay? Huge emotional fucking outburst in that match.
Yeah.
Then we get Cody Rhodes. Another huge emotional release for the crowd, right? Mm-hmm. Now we've got to sit through Charlotte and Ronda, which in all accounts was a technically good match. Great match, right? WrestleMania quality match. It's just not the match that you follow those two moments with. That order should have been Cody, Bianca, or Cody, and then ending the night with Bianca and Becky Lynch, and beginning the night with Charlotte and Ronda. That was the order that should have gone, because fatigue had sat in the arena. Like, we were tired. People were tired. We had been there almost 5 hours. And neither one of those Charlotte or Ronda invokes, there was no deep emotional connection to that match. It was just supposed to be like someone's gonna tap out. And the ending was decent. It, like, the ref being knocked out, whatever. It was a physical match. I have nothing to complain about, but in the same sentence, I have nothing to be overly excited about. And I don't think, if WWE looks back at this, I think there's no way they go, oh, we need to put that match on the same night as possibly one of the greatest women's matches of all time. Yeah. Becky and Bianca. I would have got as much separation between those two matches. I would have moved Charlotte and Ronda to possibly night 2, possibly even.
I agree.
And keep the New Day on night 1. Because they got pushed. Then last but not least on night 1 was KO versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And once again, this is where I'm going to call me being right. We went through the whole interview on Rich Eisen. This was a match the entire time. This is what they planned this to be. They always intended this to be a match, but they didn't want to oversell it, because I think even up to the moment that became a match and it started, WWE had no fucking clue what Stone Cold had in the tank.
Yeah.
And I think it was apparent, like, in the first couple minutes of the match, I was even like, I don't know how this is going to go. But, like, I just think he had to knock the rust off. Because once Stone Cold got going, it looked like a match. It felt like a match. Did it feel like a beat-up Stone Cold? Yeah. But that's a beat-up Stone Cold.
It made it believable.
This is Stone Cold, like, 19 years after his last match. He's an old man. And he's an old man with miles on his body. And Austin did everything that you would want a guy his age and his body shape to do, and he did more. And Kevin Owens will not get the credit that Kevin Owens deserves for carrying this program for the last couple of months and carrying it through WrestleMania night. He did the heavy lifting, the coming out and screaming, the baiting Stone Cold, the coming on night after night when your opponent's not there. That's not an easy thing to do. You're talking to a ghost, essentially, but you're keeping the crowd motivated. The two fake outs at Monday Night Raw where he played the song and got the crowd so hyped, but then it wasn't. It made that moment when the music finally hit and Stone Cold really appeared. It made that moment feel so much better. And Kevin Owens took some crazy bumps for Stone Cold.
Definitely.
But let's talk about Stone Cold taking a crazy bump for Kevin Owens. He took a suplex in the crowd on the cement floor.
Oh my God.
I was like, we're going to murder Stone Cold. Why the fuck are we out here trying to kill? We get him back for one match and we're going to try to kill him. We're going to re-injure him, re-ruin his life. Dude's already got the most brittle fucking neck in the world and we're out here dropping him down on the fucking concrete.
Yeah, I was in awe.
As expected, the arena exploded when Stone Cold came out. Even if the energy was dead, that was the shot of adrenaline that every person needed. There were people shaking us and pushing us and crowds high-fiving. People you didn't know became your best friend in that moment. And when Stone Cold hit if you want to see Stone Cold kick Kevin Owens' ass, give me a hell yeah. That was the loudest hell yeah I have ever heard in my life. And this was the perfect ending to Stone Cold's wrestling career. Like, he goes out with the win. Kevin Owens sold the match so well. It will be remembered favorably. So for all those people who, when I said this was a match, told me how this was going to ruin the legacy of Stone Cold, hey, fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. Because it didn't ruin his legacy. It actually ended up being a very well put together hardcore match that Stone Cold, the longer he was in it, the more I think he felt comfortable. And it just like a great ending to night 1. It was the perfect way. Jesus, can you imagine if they tried to end night 1 on the Ronda and Charlotte thing?
Oh, it would have been horrible.
I mean, just the difference in people leaving night 1 upset and leaving night 1 ecstatic. It's that match.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about night 2. Night 2, Triple H opens the show, leaves his boots in the ring. That's a cool moment. I make a lot of jokes about Triple H. I got respect for Triple H. He's done some shitty things, but everybody's done some shitty things in their life. Triple H is a legend in the business, and he's instrumental to what WWE has become. So, like, shout out to Triple H. That was a cool moment, well deserved for him to leave the boots in the ring. But opening match, we got another tag team match. We got Street Profits, Alpha Academy, and RK Bro. Now, my thoughts on this were, I really thought and I kept teasing you, after I saw Gable Stevenson announce at the beginning of the match that he was there, I thought for sure he's joining Alpha Academy.
Yes,
like it's a match made in heaven. Put the Olympian into the group with the other real wrestling guys, and let's form a super group, and let's put Kurt Angle in front of him, and let's create like the Kurt Angle faction. I really, really, really thought that was happening, and it didn't happen. Instead, we got Stevenson going against Gable, and that's going to be confusing as fuck because one's name is Chad Gable and one's name is Gable Stevenson. So somebody's losing a name here.
At one point, I thought they were like
the same
related.
person. Yeah, no, they're not.
Yeah,
they're not related. As Matt and now, like thoughts on this match. As much as I love Angelo Dawkins, especially coming out of that panel that we sat in to hear him, Montez, and Bianca talk. As much as I do love Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford is a fucking star in waiting. They just need to give him a singles opportunity, and I think he'll take the ball and run with it. Dude can jump out of the fucking arena. He is amazing. So athletic. He sells those RKOs. Like, you knew he was going to take some amazing RKOs. Yeah. And he ended up doing it. He took one from Riddle, and I think Gable may have took the one from Randy. But whatever. Like, this was, once again, another solid WrestleMania-feeling match. This didn't feel like something we'd get on Monday Night Raw. This felt like WrestleMania quality. Everybody in this match was super talented. So much talent in the ring at once. Riddle, extremely talented. Orton, we know this. He's talented, right? Street Profits, both very talented. Dawkins moves extremely well for a big guy. Who else was in there? Gable, I love Gable. Otis is just fucking Otis, right? Otis is an event in himself. That the way the big man moves around and sells things and falls and just like everything's like an earthquake when Otis gets hit. I'm interested to see the payoff from the Stevenson thing. Did you know, like, just fun fact, Gable Stevenson's still in fucking college.
No,
like,
I did not know that.
He has to finish college.
Fun fact.
Dude just jumps out at WrestleMania, comes into the ring, starts a feud with Chad Gable, then he's got to go back to college.
Go finish his finals.
He's got to go finish like the last couple months and take his finals. Can we not just give him a degree?
Yeah.
Can we just not get him started on his path? What does he need a degree for? This dude is going to be the next Brock Lesnar / Kurt Angle / possibly something we've never fucking seen before.
Yeah, definitely.
Although he did wear a crocheted sweater.
I was totally thinking that.
He wore a crocheted sweater, right? I'm not wrong. At one point, night one, he comes out in a crocheted sweater that is fucking
a polo,
barely hanging on. Crocheted polo. That's true. It wasn't
his
even
buttons were like popping out.
It was a button-up crochet polo.
Yeah.
Bunch of things I never thought I'd say in one sentence, but he definitely had that on, and it was like just barely hanging on. Mm-hmm. So after the tag team match, we got Bobby Lashley versus Omos. Yes. If you want to shit on one thing that happened, haters shit on this match. This was like everything that we knew it was going to be. I got it wrong. I thought that Omos was going to continue being the giant. We're just going to fucking cut his momentum in half. My least favorite match of WrestleMania by far. Cool moment when Bobby Lashley suplexes Omos. But once again, like, I don't know what this does for Bobby Lashley because most wrestling fans weren't looking at Omos as like, this is the guy. This is the future.
No.
He needed this winning streak to be taken seriously. Just least favorite moment of WrestleMania, definitely. But then that led us into possibly one of my favorite moments of WrestleMania. One match that I had undersold. I will say, I gave all the props in the world to Pat McAfee and Logan Paul. I had numerous times said, who knows what Johnny Knoxville is going to be, right?
True.
Like, what the fuck is that going to be? And what it was an episode of Jackass. That's what it was. It was an episode of Jackass featuring Sami Zayn in the middle of a WWE ring, and that's what it was. And I've seen mixed reactions. I've had people reach out to me with mixed reactions saying, oh, how do you feel about your boy Sami Zayn? Because everybody knows Sami Zayn, like one of my top 5, possibly for sure top 10 guys on my list of wrestlers. Well, how do you feel about what they did to Sami Zayn? To be honest with you, I think it made him I think it elevated him. I think it sold the whole conspiracy thing. I think the comedy was great, getting to be out there with every jackass. Like, there were more non-wrestling eyes on that match than any other match. That's the match that'll get talked about the longest because of how fucking absurd it was. Because of the amount of things that WWE allowed Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass guys to do that they probably wouldn't allow anybody else to do. They let Party Boy come out in like a semi-denim thong.
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening every night in WrestleMania or in wrestling. Pat McAfee at one point yelled out that Ponte's ass was just getting over with the crowd. So Pat McAfee is allowed to say things that I think either like Vince McMahon or whoever's back in the back is just like, oh God, did he say that?
Yeah.
But like to the fans, we're like, yes, that's what we want to hear. And I rewatched this match again because we were driving back from Dallas. You had this playing in the car so I could listen to it. Then when I got home, we walked in about halfway through. I turned it on. So I came back and rewatched this match, and I loved it even more the second time. I loved every minute of it. It's fun. Everything about it was fun. The mouse traps, the what else? The little machine that kicked him in the nuts. The most amazing body slam of all time.
Yes.
Wee Man body slamming Sami Zayn. It was, I mean, and Pat McAfee sold it. I get that. Like, Pat McAfee elevated it to another level, and that's why WWE needs Pat McAfee, and I'm so glad. I was so afraid they were going to, like, do you're fired.
I'm too.
And I'm so glad that he's continuing, and I think he's living a dream, and we need to cherish for however long we get the grace of Pat McAfee on SmackDown. We need to embrace that because I don't think it'll last forever. Yeah. But I do think this will be the most remembered match of night 2 of WrestleMania. Right. When the smoke clears and everything settles. At first I thought it would be Edge and AJ, but I think because of the way that ended, that won't be remembered the same way. And we'll talk about that next. And I don't think Roman and Brock will be remembered the same way. The other match that was on the card here was Sasha and Naomi versus Carmella, Zelina versus Liv and Rhea versus Natalya and Shayna. This is everything that it was supposed to be. And it was everything that I, could pretty much care less about in a match. It's a waste of Sasha Banks and Naomi because they've put no value on these women's tag team titles. So I almost feel like it's a hot potato of whoever gets that belt is kind of doomed to like, here's the next 3 or 4 months of you being stuck fighting random ass tag teams that have no affiliation with each other. We need women's tag teams that like the Legion of Doom. People that go together and stay together. Like, we got rid of the Iconics. And they were a tag team that felt like a cohesive unit. And even like Zelina and Carmella felt like just mashed together. It was like, oh, you're a queen. You act prissy. Let's put you two together and let you name me a women's tag team right now in the division that is a cohesive unit.
There's not one. None of them have like a gimmick.
And they don't even play on like the gimmicks that are there. They don't play. So Shayna Baszler is like the
UFC.
No, but the spades, right?
Yeah.
And then Talia's the hearts. Like, shouldn't they be playing into a deck of cards somehow and like really trying to get that over? I know Sasha Banks and Naomi were a tag team at one time, but there's nothing that resembles like cohesiveness. True. Theme songs that work together and stuff like that. Like Riddle and RK and Randy Orton, they combine the theme songs. They really bring together and mold a tag team together.
Or like Alpha Academy is Alpha Academy.
Exactly.
Usos are the Usos.
Exactly. You recognize them as that's what they are. They're not going to wrestle by themselves unless it's just splitting up the group and one comes out to watch.
That's true. I never thought about
that. The
women
women don't have that, and that's why those belts don't feel right. And the other thing with this match, I hate big choreographed spots, like the Tower of Doom moment, where they're both on each side. Then they're like going to do a suplex, and then one person runs under, and it's like, I'm going to flip 7 people at the same time. Like, that shit ain't. That's when wrestling, you go like, oh, this is the gimmicky shit that people who don't understand wrestling is fun. They see this and go, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. I don't understand why we're doing that.
Yeah.
This felt like the least WrestleMania match to me, if that makes sense. This felt like a match that you could have put on Monday Night Raw any day of the week,
100%.
and it like it's not remembered ever. Still perfectly fine because you have to have a certain amount of matches in the WrestleMania card that are, you know, there for time constraints, and I think that's kind of what this was. We got AJ Styles versus Edge. I talked about this a little bit earlier. AJ cut his fucking head coming out of the entrance ramp. And I was so confused because I didn't know what had happened.
Yeah.
But I did see him walk into the ring and I thought he had on war paint. They come to find out that the ramp, like the entranceway was a star, and he came around and he hit his head on the edge of it and sliced it open. And after that, I guess they were telling everybody in the back, like, hey, be careful. AJ just cut himself.
Yeah.
Edge's new character is fucking amazing, man. I know you didn't like it at first, but I
didn't
love
understand
it.
it, so.
It's just an arrogance. He's like, he's on another level. He's saying, I'm better than everybody in this industry. And I've seen people go, oh, this is just Malachi Black. Whatever. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
It's another evolution of Edge. He just shows he keeps reinventing himself. There was a point in time where I thought Edge is done, right? Coming out of that Seth Rollins thing, it really started to feel like Edge may be done. That was a great run. He got a last couple matches in. I asked the question 3 or 4 months ago, where does Edge sit all time? Where's Edge on the list of all time greatest wrestlers? He's fucking moving up. If you guys were saying he's not top 10, not top 20, he's moving up. He's definitely trending upwards towards the top of that list. Because I don't know, and maybe this will be a fun game to do another day, but let's name 20 wrestlers better than Edge all time. I don't know that I can do it. Probably other people, but I don't fucking list people like Bruno Sammartino because I didn't get to fucking see him.
Yeah.
The suplex that they did off the top rope onto the edge of the ring was fucking insane. I'll say that. This is absolutely the perfect story for Damian Priest. This is what, like I kept saying, Damian's missing something. There's a piece of Damian missing. Him being paired up with Edge, perfect. It can't get any better to that. And shout out to Edge and AJ Styles for allowing this moment to involve Damian Priest, because this was kind of a dream match scenario. And they allow that moment to include Damian Priest. It shows them both being veterans and knowing that they can take a moment and elevate a not younger, because he's not young, but they can elevate a newer superstar. New Day versus Ridge and Sheamus. This was obviously just a time constraint match. Like, this was in there just to fill time. That's all it was. I'm not even going to talk about it. It was completely pointless to squash the New Day basically like that. I think without Big E, WWE has no fucking clue what to do with them. And I think that Xavier is somebody who could be so over with the crowd, and then you go, just let Sheamus and Rich Holland fuck him up. I am excited to see what Butch does, because I didn't have much watch time with Pete Dunne, or Dune, whatever the fuck, however you say that. But I do think that his look on Monday Night Raw, he's SmackDown or Monday Night Raw? He's SmackDown, right?
I don't know.
SmackDown, because Xavier's SmackDown. His look on SmackDown is more appealing than, I always thought he had a strange look. I know he's British and shit like that, but he had a strange look on NXT.
Okay.
He always came off as small, and he still looks small on SmackDown, but he's kind of wiry, a little wiry.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. What can you say? I told you motherfuckers that Pat was going to steal the show. I said it. I was preaching it for the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. I said that Pat and Logan, they were going to fucking do their thing. They did their thing. I do believe coming out of WrestleMania, Pat McAfee had possibly the most memorable moments of WrestleMania of any wrestler. Single moments. Like, when you look at single moments, Pat McAfee had more memorable moments than anybody else. The Swanton, where he landed on his back, I know that fucking hurt. The picking up the commentary headset and beating up Austin Theory while on commentary, don't think that's ever been done before. That's hella memorable. The top rope jump, where he jumped onto the top rope. I know Seth Rollins does this, but Pat McAfee's not Seth Rollins, and he was also in skinny jeans to jump up and then suplex. Like, this felt like a wrestling match. There was nothing about this that screamed, this guy's a football player, and there was nothing about that screamed, this guy is a commentator. This match screamed, this is two professional wrestlers. And now, Once again, Austin Theory, he's not going to get the credit like Kevin Owens that he deserves because he definitely did a large part of carrying that match forward and taking bumps and doing things and protecting himself. And the rumors that we heard all along of Vince versus Pat, that was true.
It was.
It was absolutely true. It came about in a real turnabout way. Interesting as hell. And as hokey as it become, because it did become hokey at the end with Stone Cold, it was fun and nostalgic.
Yeah.
And that's all that it was meant to be. And the stunner that were Stone Cold and Vince didn't connect, like that couldn't have gone better. Had they connected and that was a perfect stunner, like that wouldn't be in my memory forever. The fact that he missed and Vince slid back and then came back was like the most Vince McMahon and Stone Cold thing.
And then Stone Cold laughed.
Yes, the laughing and Stone
made it
Cold.
awesome.
Stone Cold running around the ring like a fucking airplane at one point. And then can we talk about Austin Theory and Pat McAfee? They both took stunners better than most people have ever taken a stunner in their life. Austin Theory chose to go the Rock method with the high bounce flip over.
That was pretty
And
cool.
Pat McAfee getting stunned with the beer in his mouth and just spraying it as he goes down.
Yeah.
Was fucking great. And if you didn't love this match, you take wrestling too serious. Like if you didn't love everything about this match in this moment, including the Jackass match, like you take wrestling too serious if you can't have fun. And like the icing on the cake was when they cut back to Pat McAfee and he's on the ground, knocked out, pouring the beer in his mouth. And like they put so much trust in Pat McAfee in that match. Because none of those moments are planned. He's just fucking winging it as he's out there, and he killed it.
All right.
Last but not least was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. And my thoughts on that are this was sold to us as the biggest match of all time. Was that a little bit of an overstatement? Of course. But that's marketing. That's how marketing works. It's two of the most colossal WWE wrestlers clashing in a very big moment. And though it may not have been the greatest match of all time, it still had a big fight feel, and it was still a very good match. And I've said numerous times, when you put Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns in the ring together, you can't get 30 minutes of wrestling. They're too physical. They both, I think they lay into each other. There is physical abuse that happens when these two are in a ring together. So you're not getting 30 to an hour of wrestling. What you're getting is a fucking finisher fest. And that's okay. Like, I'm okay. We got enough wrestling in the first fucking 72 hours of WrestleMania. From Friday on, we got enough real wrestling. This was a fight. This was two guys. Spears, F5s, Superman punches. We got just finisher. And I know finishers are supposed to end the match, but when you got two guys, two beasts like this, like you need this. Now, the finish of the entire match, I don't know that it was the best finish ever, but it was a finish and it was clean and it was decisive and they didn't go with a disqualification or some weird shit. Yeah, Roman cheated, but he's a heel. That's what he does. And Roman Reigns ending the match on the ramp, holding both belts. That was the visual that WWE was looking for. That was the visual that they were closing out this amazing weekend with, right? We got Bianca and Becky. We got Edge and AJ. We got the Jackass match. We got all this amazing wrestling, and they wanted to close out the night with that visual image of one man, Roman Reigns, the guy who the company's on his back. Let's not kid ourselves. He's the top dog in all of wrestling, and he's holding both belts up. That was the image that WWE, they wanted that picture coming out of WrestleMania. If anything else came out of that match, that's what they were looking for. This has been a lot of fucking wrestling talk. I'm fucking worn out. Let's quickly go over. I'm just gonna go over some quick points from Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
I mean, this has been like, I'm so exhausted from the weekend. We had Friday Night SmackDown. We had Undertaker's Hall of Fame, Saturday's NXT, WrestleMania Day 1, Sunday WrestleMania, Monday Night Raw. That's like 10 or 15 hours of wrestling. It's crazy. I'm exhausted at this point just trying to talk about it and recap this shit. This probably should have been like a 3-episode series, but let's just quick points to take away from Monday Night Raw. Cody Rhodes will be WWE champion in the next 3 months.
I agree.
Mark that down. Write it down. The crowd loves him. He's got everything they need. Roman's not keeping 2 belts for a long time. They can't do that. They've got obligations to the networks. They need somebody. Cody's the guy. Cody can command the Monday Night Raw ship, and he's got a beautiful cast of characters along there. Monday Night Raw is in good hands. Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley. You've got all the pieces for that show to exist on a high level. Cody's promo, interesting. Not how I would have come out Monday Night Raw, but who the fuck am I? A lot of like emotional sentiment in that. I think the crowd bought it, which is interesting for a crowd that typically doesn't buy a lot of bullshit. And maybe it was real. Maybe it was real. Who am I to fucking know? But it did feel a little bit like an emotional trickery, like trying to get us behind Cody Rhodes.
I can see that.
Point number 2, Elias is back. Well, kind of. Ezekiel is back. Elias's younger brother, Ezekiel, returned to WWE, correct? And he just looks like, I've had numerous people say this, and it was my first thoughts too, a generic created character from WWE 2K.
That's
what
funny.
he looked like. Like, I don't understand. What are we doing here?
I want his beard back. He looks strange to me.
I get all the vibes of Damian Sandow 2.0 with Elias or Ezekiel, whatever we're going to call him. Like a guy that they just don't know how to use that talent. And I thought he was over as Elias, so I don't know what we're doing, and there better be a magical plan, and I'll be patient, and we'll get there. But okay, maybe I thought like maybe as the beard grows back, he'll evolve back into Elias.
I think so. That's my idea.
Rumor is that they've like completely written Elias out of like the WWE books. So if that's the plan, that's not legit. Veer Mahan debuted. He's a scary looking dude. I don't know much about him, but he did decide to pick on 2 of the smallest looking motherfuckers in the WWE, and Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. So there is that. I guess I get Rusev vibes from him. We'll see where that goes. Like I said, don't know anything about Veer Mahan. MVP turned on Lashley. I guess this was the decent payoff for what happened at WrestleMania with Omos.
You called this.
This will be good for Bobby, but is the universe going to get behind this whole situation? I don't know. Edge and Damian Priest came out and said he felt like Edge was speaking to him. Everybody's been hitting me up and telling me that Tommaso Ciampa will be joining this group at some point. Hey man, I'm all for that. This looks cool. This looks like a cool group. I've been saying WWE doesn't have enough cool factions. You got the Bloodline, but they don't really ever, they're family, but they don't feel like a cohesive unit all the time. The Usos kind of do what the Usos do, and then Roman does what he does, and it doesn't always feel like they're together. Other than that, there's not a real edgy faction, and I think this has potential to do that.
Yeah.
And then Roman Reigns ended the show on Monday Night Raw with one of those, hey, I got to make an appearance because this is the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, but fuck you guys. You're going to have to wait to SmackDown to hear what I'm really going to say about what happened. All right, so we're at 52 minutes. Let's take a quick break. Let's play Jay's recap of AEW, and we'll come back and finish out with a couple dirt sheet stories.
All right.
There is definitely no way they're even going to notice this time. Oh, hey, it's your boy Jay from Jay Knows Wrestling, and this is This Week in AEW. Now, I know you guys probably don't care because WrestleMania weekend probably made you forget that there was other wrestling going on, but there was. We opened Dynamite with CM Punk fighting another tag team guy. This time it was that whack rapper that we all know as Max Caster. And yes, after the match, CM Punk said when he did the discount double check thing, that actually meant that he will be going after that AEW championship. Jon Moxley defeated Wheeler Utah and would not shake his hand after the match. Bryan Danielson defeated Jay Lethal and shook his hand after the match. What exactly are the rules of the Blackpool Combat Club? Blackpool Combat Club. Can't believe I forgot that. Anyways, Ortiz, Santana, and Eddie Kingston are back and they attack the Jericho Appreciation Society. But the Jericho Appreciation Society has 18 men and they got the better of them. Better luck next time. FTR pounded some ass. boys by defeating the Gun Club. And after the match, Wardlow powered his way through security and almost made it to the ring. FTR looked at MJF and was like, hey, we're friends with Wardlow still.
All right, so we're going to come out of that because I don't think that's working correctly. And we will either post that individually or try to get it working by the end of the episode, but something's wrong there. We updated all the drivers on the computer, and a bunch of shit just went crazy right before we started. So it seems like that audio was coming out of our TV. So we'll figure that out. But let's move on to the news, and we'll get to Jay stuff later. The dirt sheets this week. So Alexa Bliss was not in Dallas, Texas for any of the WrestleMania weekend events, according to PW Insider. As seen in a photo below, which I don't have here, there is an Alexa's Playground set and a cutout of Bliss displayed this year at WrestleMania's Access. We saw that. In late February, Bliss shared photos from a bachelorette party ahead of her impending wedding to Ryan Cabrera. So this is insinuating that possibly there's wedding issues, but Bliss insinuated several times that WWE has been keeping her off of TV. On March 1st, she wrote, "Yeah, I don't know," in a response to a fan asking why she was not booked on the Monday Night Raw after the Elimination Chamber. Later in March, Bliss tweeted, "I guess I'll just wait here."
Yeah.
My thoughts? Looks like there might be some friction there. And where there's friction, there's fire. And where there's rumors, there's usually some shit going on, and this seems to me like all is not well with Alexa Bliss in WWE. I don't know what it could be. Is it just sometimes WWE doesn't know what to do with people? But shit, you could figure that out.
I think so.
Even if you turn her back into the old Alexa Bliss and just use her in different spots, she's so over with the crowd. I don't know what this could be. Someone's going to have to kind of buzz into my ear and let me know if there's reasoning behind Alexa missing. Because to come back for Elimination Chamber, and we did all of those weird, not weird, they were entertaining, but they kind of dumb. The little situations where she was at the therapist and through the things, and we were like supposed to believe that she had been fixed and rehabbed.
Yeah.
She came back, lost a match, and she's gone again.
I mean, she had her own booth at freaking Fan Access.
Yeah, so. I mean, they still milk that kind of thing. But for her not to even be in Dallas is interesting.
Yeah.
Like to not even be around the events that's going on. I'd like to know more on that. Jerry Lawler is returning to Raw commentary booth for a few weeks. Corey Graves is getting married, so this should be fun. Jerry the King's always fun. He's a little inappropriate.
That's okay, I like him.
No, I mean, I like that. He's a little inappropriate. He'll be fun. I've missed the King on commentary. I'll enjoy seeing him back in the booth for a couple of weeks. AEW star takes shot at Edge's new faction. So let me look at this story here because I didn't bring it up.
Okay.
This story says WrestleMania 38 saw Edge apparently starting his own faction in WWE. Now an AEW star has taken a shot at the new group of the Rated R Superstar. House of Black member Brody King went on his Twitter to react to the picture of this new alliance. He wrote, "When you order the House of Black on Wish.com." Fuck this guy, man. Who the fuck is he? Like every gimmick in WWE and AEW isn't a recycled gimmick a million times over, right?
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like if you want to be real, asshole, Wish.com, AEW is the Wish.com of fucking WWE. You guys can fight it all you want, but fuck you. I just got back from WrestleMania. AEW's not doing shit like that. Like, it's okay. I get it. In September and November, AEW guys, their balls get a little big. They get a little comfortable. They feel like we're running in stride with WWE. And then WrestleMania season comes around and we go, oh, that's right. We don't do shit like that.
Yeah.
We don't do it that big. We don't fill up the Dallas Cowboys Stadium with 77,000 people 2 nights in a row after a SmackDown, an NXT, and a Monday Night Raw after that. We don't do those kind of numbers. And that's fine. Like, let it be. But these AEW guys got to stop fucking, like, involving themselves in WWE matters. Even if that's what you really feel. Don't put that shit out in the public. Because isn't the House of Black, if we're going to be real fucking honest here for a minute, isn't the House of Black just the fucking Wyatt family again?
Yeah.
And isn't the Wyatt family just some form of the Ministry of Darkness, which was the Undertaker? Like, these are recycled. That's what wrestling does. Every new generation gets another version of something. And you don't get to call dibs on something. Like, who the fuck is this Brody fucking King? I get it. He's an indie New Japan. He's trendy. He's one of them trendy fucking wrestlers. I get it. Like, cool. Good for him. Edge is a goddamn WWE Hall of Famer. Edge is a big fucking deal. So when Edge does something, I don't think he's looking around going like, what is Malachi Black and Brody King doing? Let me steal that gimmick.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's fucking going on here. You can draw comparisons to so many gimmicks back and forth, right? Like, there are guys in both companies that you can go like, this guy mirrors this guy, this guy mirrors this guy, this guy mirrors this guy. It happens, and it's like, are we really going to get into a pissing contest where we go, well, Jade Cargill is just Bianca Belair?
True.
The Wish.com version, right? No, Jade Cargill is her own fucking character who is a dope fucking character, just like Bianca's a dope character, just like Edge is a dope character, just like Malachi Black is a dope character, and just like I don't give a fuck who Brody King is, to be real fucking honest with you. That's all I got for tonight.
All right.
We'll talk some more. We'll get that Jay video. I apologize to Jay. Fucking, I don't know what's going on there. That's crazy.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
You hit play and we could hear it on the TV, but not in the headphones, which means it's not running through the mixing board.
Oh.
Which means that obviously is not getting recorded. So
okay.
Anybody, you could like, when you get, well, obviously this will be in the future of that. So hopefully you just fast forwarded to when we talk again.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'll get that video up on YouTube and make sure it gets noticed. And then, we are going to start booking some guests. We've decided. We've talked about it. Even though it's going to take a lot of work.
I'll be reaching out.
We're going to book some independent wrestlers just to see what the fuck happens. I don't know if I can even do an interview or not. But we're definitely going to book Jay, HyperX, some of these people, Andrew. Get some of these people on these show and fucking talking to us. So we can get some other opinions in here and we can talk about... I need to figure out who's the greatest wrestler of all time, first of all. That's one thing I need to do. But this has been another episode of the CWC Wrestling Podcast. Make sure to tune in every week and make sure to submit your choices for the WrestleMania Backlash Pick'em contest, which I will be updating as soon as we know what those matches are. Make sure to check out this week's episode of CWC, the after show named Dark Match, where we talk more casually about the news we didn't get to on this podcast. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D. That is Level Up Lauren, and you can ring the final bell.
Ding, 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 ding.